even I watch his videos now and again to see what's happening, and I installed months ago. Yeah, bro, it's fun. The thing is, the other thing about 𝙏𝙃𝙊𝙎𝙀, which is great, is he keeps everybody up to date on all the news that's happening with the game. He's giving his opinion. He's going out of his way to get all these screenshots. He's making sure that all the information is up to date and accurate, which is a lot more than you can say about most people. So his videos are good.
What you just saw there is a clip from Claysthetics. And by the way, I appreciate the comments and praise there, sir, but you know, there's been a lot of BS flying around out there, and it's time to drop the receipts. Welcome back to the channel. It's 𝙏𝙃𝙊𝙎𝙀 with a rare Sunday upload, and there's just so much on this one. But you know, I've done my research as usual. I've got slides, I've got dates and artwork, and I'm gonna do my best to keep this one civil, but it's time. In case you haven't done so already, please take a moment to hit subscribe. It's free, and it really helps out the channel get noticed in the far corners of YouTube. Also, while you're at it, please take a few seconds more to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. I've recently added Warhammer 40K into my channel rotation, you know, in case you like that kind of content. And yeah, let's get into it all. The Glazers versus haters debate, my content, you get the picture. So sit back and enjoy the latest from Helldivers. I forgot to mention it there in the intro, but I have included Claysthetics channel link in the video description and pinned comments. I overall spent a few hours last night watching some of his Helldivers uploads, and he definitely deserves more attention than he's been receiving. So check him out, leave him a comment, and let him know that Buzz sent you on over to see his channel. And I've also included a link to that video where he mentions me and kind of how I do my content. And you know what to do, so enjoy. And thank you again, Clay. Okay, on to the matter at hand. That Reddit post, and you can't see me here, but I'm air quoting that like a boss, where the OP apparently decided to bomb both the official Helldivers Reddit and the Helldivers 2 sub simultaneously with the artwork you see up on screen. And one thing that Clay points out in his video, and I didn't notice this at first, are the red bars at the bottom of the videos indicating how the OP has watched the videos and how much of the videos they have watched as well. So for someone that wanted to fire off a 500 kg on me and my channel, they seem to watch it quite a bit. So take that for what it's worth. I scanned through the comments. Some support the OP's thread, others push back, and clearly there seems to be a huge disconnect between a lot of topics when it comes down to me and my channel. There's questions about my experience with the game, my level of understanding of Helldivers, and also where I stand on the state of the game. So let's just get into it, starting off with my experience level, and here start the receipts. As of this morning, I've logged 432.5 hours into Helldivers 2. I know that is quite a bit more or less than many of my viewers out there, but as someone that has a full-time job, I'm a father and a husband, along with being a part-time YouTube content creator, I think those hours are more than respectable. For the still entrenched skeptics out there, you could have gotten one of your friends to grab that pic for you. Here are my in-game stats along with real footage I just snagged this morning, so you can see it for yourself. And I don't claim to be the world's best player, and this is definitely not a flex here. I just wanted to show the receipts so everyone can see that I am, yes, a real player, logging real hours into the game. I get kills, and I get killed just like anybody else. And so when I speak about Helldivers, when I mention changes, when I mention weapon buffs or nerfs or really anything else from the game, it is coming from a place of experience. Charger spawn rate changes, mechs being underpowered, how effective the laser cannon is versus the bots. You know, all of that is born from game time actually using the weapons and strats for myself. Also, one comment I saw in that Reddit thread more than a few times goes something like this, and I'm going to glamorize it a little bit. I'm going to poke fun at it, and I'm also going to paraphrase a bit here. But, you know, the comments are something to this tune. That dude Buzz plays on nothing but level 5s. He's just like the devs from the Arrowhead livestream. And until Arrowhead made the difficulty change, not displaying it until you actually activated your minimap, in the past you could see from my footage as far back as like early April, level 9s, that's Helldive difficulty, showing up on the upper right hand of the screen. that's truly me playing and recording. You can see my gamer tag as well, and it takes these uninformed knuckle dragger comments and it just absolutely squashes them into dust. No disrespect to anyone out there playing level 4s through 7s, but 9s and 10s is the difficulty I'm now adjusted to, and I spend the large majority of my time taking on. These comments to me are just crazy, because if someone would spend 3 seconds of their life and actually open their eyes, they would see the truth, but for whatever reason, it's easier to just shitpost without the benefit of truth. Switching over to the in-game X's and O's of Helldivers 2 and why I personally don't post breakdown videos with things like extensive use of stats, armor penetration, durable damage, or why I didn't take it as far as, say, ThiccFila and his 9-hour live on stream weapon breakpoint video. And by the way, God bless him. That's epic, and he deserves all the credit and recognition for that. So again, the question is, why don't I do breakdowns like that? And because I don't, it must mean I have zero knowledge to the inner workings of this game, which is again way off base. You know, I've been doing content for nearly a decade now, and if you take a look at my previous uploads, especially, say, for the Division franchise, I spent hours and hours crafting and posting videos about the internal maths of that game and other games, how to compute additive and multiplicative damage, how not to trust in-game DPS metrics, how best to build your loadouts, and, you know, it's all there up on the channel, video after video. I have well over 1,000 videos posted to YouTube, and here's the thing with it all, and more importantly, how it relates to Helldivers, and I saw it very early on. The vast majority of the diver player base doesn't vibe with all that math, and no disrespect to the content creators out there that post it. Helldivers is a meme-producing horde-style shooter, and while you can get into the real gritty details, you can be way out there with the math, armor penetration, breakpoints, damage drop-off, but for so many players, they just don't have time for that, if you know what I mean. And again, that's something I recognized and saw very early on when I first started posting Helldivers 2 content, because I would actually get into the weeds talking stats in our private Discord channels, and I would immediately lose people's attention. And these are hardcore divers we're talking about. And so I made a conscious decision to not post Helldivers content like that. Now, maybe it was the wrong decision. I honestly don't know, but this current format works for me. It fits my style of content creation. We've got the news, we've got the facts interlaced with my honest opinions. And once again, props to all the CCs out there that post those stat-baked videos. It's just not me. But what is me is calling out changes to the game I don't see as having any use or positive outcomes. And here's another area where there's a lot of wild stuff and BS flying around out there. The way I see it, I bring you the news, I bring you the in-game changes, you know, all of that, along with my honest thoughts based on experience to those changes. In simple terms, I cover the basics, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I'm not shy to voice my displeasure. Again, the shitposts were numerous that I was reading, saying how I do nothing but say positive things about the changes. I was all on board with the nerfs, and only recently started calling out Arrowhead over the boneheaded and baffling changes after Escalation of Freedom went live. Again, that's completely wrong as well. So let's take a look at all of this. March the 6th, our very first balance patch. You remember that one. The big meta 3 were changed, the ensign breaker, the railgun, and the shield backpack. By the way, here's the thumbnail for that video. Lots of changes, some concerns. Now, I'm not going to go into a full breakdown of that video here. These are all live on the channel if you want to check them out. But in here, I call out the ensign breaker ammo counts per mag reductions and doubling of recoil. And what's that date again? Oh yeah, that's March the 6th. Let's keep it going. March the 9th, the secret change thumbnail, calling out enemy spawns that are now getting crazy. I also call out how aggressive the enemies now are because they were just blitzing our positions where they didn't used to. I also call out the railgun changes, calling the weapon very inconsistent, especially versus chargers. And these were really early days for Helldivers. You know what I mean? Despite the studio's attempt to paint it as just as strong as before, but now in unsafe mode, which clearly it wasn't. March the 20th rolls around. Here's the thumb for that one. Some good changes in there, which I praised, by the way. But again, I did point out those spawn issues, which were still out of control. April the 2nd, and again, I call out those botched spawn issues. And I also pointed out how fire damage was now buffed by 50%. April the 3rd, so just one day later, I gave my honest thoughts about the latest patch after getting a chance to test it all out for myself. And I also called out the massive slugger changes and how bad the crashing and stability was overall for the game. Skipping ahead a bit, and there was a lot in between here, by the way. April the 29th, patch 1.000.300, new precision update thumb on this one, 20 plus weapon nerfs and buffs mentioned in the video title. This is the one where we saw the Quasar cannon cooldown, now increased by 5 seconds. And I even said in the video, quote, "I'm not on board with this one." You can go back and check me on that. Also, the Eruptor loses ammo and gets more damage drop-off. Called that one out as well. I didn't like it. And even the Sickle loses half its mags. So hopefully everyone remembers that patch. Basically, it's the patch where they took away a bunch of ammo. May the 1st, big one here, by the way. The thumb reads much bigger problems, and I wasn't lying. I made my stance known, and I call out the game as I opposed the nerf first mentality. And I actually say those words in the video because I never want to see that in any PvE game. I also speak to the fact that it's not a competitive esports game. And for those of you counting, that's 4 months ago. So it didn't just start a few weeks back. But hey, let's keep going. We've got more receipts here. May the 3rd and the Sony mayhem rolls out, and you all know where I stand on Sony and their absolutely dumbass decision to try that stuff after the fact on the PC players. May the 8th rolls around and the thumb reads, "This is rough, more changes." And a very interesting video here, by the way, where I actually retract my previous praise about the Eruptor, as I was actually playing the game on a previous pre-nerf version, actually changing my thoughts on the Eruptor to overwhelmingly negative. A quote from the video is, "It brings up the question of why the devs constantly meddle with primary weapon balance in a PvE horde-style shooter." Again, this is May the 8th, and that's an exact quote from the video right there. I also try to bring attention to the conflict between what the studio wants, which they said in that blog post, a strat-centric gameplay, versus what we were actually getting, gutted primary weapons and tons of negative effects designed to slow down or cut off our access to the very thing they wanted us to use, stratagems. Of course, between that May 8th video and the next one, I've got daily videos posting throughout there. We've got more call-outs for the now out-of-control patrol spawn rates. You know, they're just reaching mental levels at this point. And then May the 15th rolls around. The thumb is players wanted changes. They got it. And I have an entire section of that video called, "If It Ain't Broke." And I'm referring to that saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Asking why the devs needed to mess with the Eruptor and Shrapnel. We now jump ahead to June the 13th, and the thumb reads, "Lots of changes, some concerns." For divers, we've got another new update here, as the game is now in a completely busted and broken state, which I called it out for what it was in that video. Jump ahead a little further, June the 16th, what really happened? Another patch, and patrol spawn rates are even worse now, which, you know, overall there's a theme here. I've been calling it out for weeks now. Again, we skip ahead this time to July the 21st. The title reads, "Players are pissed, not again." And in here, we've got the Commando, which is now being identified as being bugged. And I said in there, here we go again with shiny, awesome toys being gutted after the fact by Arrowhead. And the final thumb that I actually wanted to point out here is August the 6th. It didn't go well as Escalation goes live, and you know the rest from there. Of course, there are dozens upon dozens of videos that I left out in there, all outlining community feedback, Reddit posts, video game sites and their headlines, and all the while highlighting positive and negative effects on the game. And of course, all interlaced with my honest thoughts. So I think my stance on the game and where it began is now crystal clear. You've seen the receipts. I've been voicing concerns since March the 6th in that very first balance patch. So for anyone out there just riding this train of disinformation, I would say this: look it all over for yourself. It's all there. You can see where and when I said what. And that should make it super easy for you to see where my content and I land in this whole debate. Oh, also for the most part, Reddit exists in its own bubble, and it's really good to get outside of that echo chamber and, as they say, touch grass, just to get back in touch with real life. Rewinding just a bit, and as far as this Glazer versus hater debate goes, I honestly think that for the most part, these two crowds of people are made up of the exact same players. They don't know what they want, and so they go from screaming praise to now just plain screaming. So in effect, the people that loved the game at launch are now the exact same ones that are trying to actively kill it. That being said, I think my coverage of Helldivers has stayed pretty consistent, which is not convenient for a Reddit narrative aimed at smearing someone or something, but as they say, the receipts don't lie. You know, just kind of breaking it down for you and keeping it honest. I've been doing this for a decade now. Haters come and go. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's the fact that the only thing that I can control is me. And that mantra has served me well the entire time I've been on this incredible YouTube journey of being a content creator. Thanks for listening today. This is the one and only video I'm going to post on this matter. As next video, we're going to return to the standard format, but the absurdities were getting out of hand, which have now been corrected. So yeah, there we have it. Remember to hit subscribe and ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Shout out to the now nearly 242,000 of you awesome and supportive ladies and gents from across the globe who have taken the plunge, have already taken the time to hit subscribe and tune in to support me and my content. Until the next one, this is Lieutenant BuzzLitebeer, signing off.